All right, yes, sir. Good evening, basketball fans and hoop junkies. So this is Dario, your host for the Next Man Up podcast, where we talk about a lot of basketball news here in the Philippines and also hoopers who are playing outside of the Philippines. Now, before we move on to the show, I just want to remind everyone what was on the last episode. So last episode we talked about SJ Belangel going to Korea. He's going to be playing there, also with Kiefer Ravena, him trying to play in the PBA for one conference and then going back to the B League. I mean, happy that he's going to be playing for Gilas, so that's a good sign. And also Jason Brickman, who just won a championship in the T1, so he's been a great Filipino hooper who has been playing very well around the world. Now, of course, before we move on, bago tayo mag go to the topics, hindi tayo makakapunta doon without my partner, Mr. Hot Takes, Gelo Vito, my former teammate from the UP Fighting Maroons. First time we're actually doing this podcast live. Gelo Vits, how are you, my guy?
Jegs, good evening to you. Excuse my voice ha, medyo napaano lang tayo ng
Guys,
weekend
coach
but
kasi to si Gelo
oh,
sa ano bang kino-coach mo, Gels? Marami kang athletes na kino-coach
yes.
ngayon, di ba?
So medyo napatrabaho lang tayo ng weekend but we're ready to go, ready to talk about
Ano
hoops
kasi yan
and
si Jello guys, as a coach, medyo vocal, naninigaw talaga yan. So,
hindi
medyo
naman.
relax lang kayo kay
Hindi
Jello sa
naman.
voice niya ngayon.
Yeah,
Pero,
but
Jels, we're gonna be talking about a lot of topics
yeah.
for this episode, right? First time we're live, we're gonna have
Yep.
guests also, so that's a good thing. So I'm just gonna give a rundown of our topics. So una, Jels, we're gonna have Kai's draft results. We're gonna be talking
Oh,
about that for just a
yep.
few minutes, and also comment down below if you guys have thoughts. We're for sure gonna see that here. Comment down below and also try to share this episode para makita rin ng mga friends nyo and any hoop junkie, any hoop fan that want to listen to our guests and our topics. So it's Sky first, and then the recent signings by Filipinos in other leagues. So we have Richie Rivero, RJ Abarientos, Kobe Paras, and of course we're gonna have our first guest for the show, the Rich Paul of
Rich
the
Paul,
Philippines,
the
yes, sir.
Philippines.
Sir PJ Pilares, of course, the managing partner of Titan Management Group, and he handles a couple of players. We're going to be talking about that
Yeah,
here in the Philippines and also outside the Philippines. So
outside the
he's been
country, yeah.
doing great with that part of the basketball side. And also, for our next guest, we're going to have, of course, Justin Gutang, the
Yep.
new OFW Hooper. He'll be playing in Korea. We're gonna be digging deep into his
Yep.
journey and what we're gonna expect from him. And then that's it. And then we're gonna be talking about the Philippine basketball scene in general as a
Yep.
whole. And we're gonna have a little game called if you were the commissioner, what would you do
Yeah.
in the current situation? So I'm
That's
gonna
a
put
that's a nice
Jello.
game. That's
I'm
a
gonna
nice
put
game.
Jello on the spot. So those are the
Okay.
topics for
Okay.
today, Jello. So let's start it off with Kai's draft results, Jello.
Yeah.
I was there. I was, waiting after, a couple of picks. Syempre, first
Yeah.
round, we didn't expect him to be there. Second round, though, I was really
Second
tuning
round.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Inaantay ko kung may magda-draft ba kay Kai. I mean, there were rumors, diba? 49th pick with the Kings. There's that Jimmy Alapag and Kai connection. What do you
Portland. Portland was
what
there
were you
also.
doing nung nag-draft night?
I was at work to tell you
Mm.
honestly. Pero habang nagtatrabaho ko, my phone was just open. My phone was just open. Nasa league pass ako. I'm just talagang inaabangan namin ng me
Oh,
and my clients yung draft night lalo na yung towards the end of second round kasi
yeah.
we saw na uh, Golden State was still there.
Mm-mm.
Portland was still there and Sacramento was still there. And the
Yep.
very, very last pick was Portland. So, di ba nag-workout si Kyle doon and, no,
There's that
sorry.
Filipino connection
There's
din,
a
social media
Filipino
nila,
connection.
'di ba?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yun na nga eh. Parang pinost nila and all of that. Ang laki ng interaction. So, I was kind of hoping, we were kind of hoping na Kai would be drafted last. But, medyo hindi ganun yung nangyari. And, syempre, we're a little disappointed to see na hindi na-draft si Kai. But, for me personally, from there on, pataas na lang yan si Kai. I mean, at
Yeah.
least now alam na natin, and I think he knows where he's at in terms of basketball or in terms of skill level and all of that. So for me, it's a big room for him to improve as a player.
And I think that's part of the journey also. I mean,
Yeah,
we've seen a lot of stories in the NBA, undrafted stories. You have Fred Van Vliet, undrafted, right? You have a couple of guys, Max Strus,
Max
from the
Strus,
Miami. I mean, I think Duncan Robinson was he
Duncan
undrafted,
Robinson,
right? I
drafted
mean,
yun.
these stories are maybe something that Kai can draw inspiration from,
That's
right?
true.
And it's not the end all be all. I mean, there were, I mean, rumors that he might play. He had offers for summer league in the NBA, but his agent said otherwise. But Kai said he misspoke. So we're just gonna see as hoop fans, diba? I mean, who are we to complain of what
Yeah,
he's
that's true.
doing? A lot of fans, us from the outside, marami tayong di nakikita eh.
Yeah,
'Di ba? I mean,
for sure.
a lot are going on behind the scenes. I mean, who's talking to who's handling him. I mean, right? And I don't think we are in a great place to judge. As
Yeah,
Filipinos, I
that's true.
think we're there to support him. Probably one of the biggest chances that we're gonna have a pure Filipino playing in the NBA. Pero Jello, ikaw, what do you think should Kai do at this point? Being undrafted, where should he go next?
I really think the next available siguro is, work on that 10-day contract, makahanap siya ng 10-day contract to have
Mm-hmm.
a two-way deal. I mean, that's the best. Like, gaya nga na sinabi ko last time during our past episodes na that's the best case for him to
Mm-hmm.
get a probably 10-day or a two-way contract. Kasi again, hindi niya mahahanap yung level of training na yun or sa iba eh. Kasi again,
Yeah.
NBA right now is the best league in the world. No doubt. Best training, best coaches all over the world nandun. And for me, ang first step yun is to get a summer league team with whoever. Kasi
Yeah.
again, whether
Just
or
get that
not,
one foot in, eh, no?
yes, yun lang naman yun eh. Kasi whether or not he moves on, get a 10-day or a two-way contract, yung experiences and yung mga matututunan niya doon,
Yeah.
kasi kaya niyang dalhin yan sa iba. He can, kasi for sure, anything that he do now, na nagawin niya ngayon, level up na yan.
Yeah.
Pataas na ng pataas yan.
And wherever he plays, NBA, NBL, I think he still has a live contract with
Yeah.
the NBL or play for Gilas. I mean, we'll never know. I mean, I think Coach Shot, I think offered na to Kai na, if he's gonna play. I think wala pang reply si Kai. But, we're here to support Kai. Kai is a
Yeah.
great talent. If he plays here in the Philippines, so be it. He's gonna dominate everyone. I mean, he's that kind of a player, once in a generation talent to si Kai. So, for the fans out there, what should Kai do? Comment down below. Let us know what should Kai do next, and maybe in his journey, messages to him. Probably, maybe he's watching this. He can watch this even after the show. So, I mean, that's
Yeah.
for me. It's just us supporting him wherever
Yeah.
he goes. He has done so much I think for Philippine basketball, just opening that door, giving the that name out, the Filipino culture, Filipino brand of basketball out. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that we have a player like Kai dito sa Philippines
Oh,
that's that
yeah.
close to getting to that NBA dream. I mean, we have Phil Amps in the NBA, pero pure Filipino. I think Kai, tama si Coach Yang, he said Kai is probably yung sabi niya, probably the best talent that is
Yeah.
available na pwede sana mag-NBA. And he's not
Yep.
there yet. That's how important and that's how high level the NBA is. I mean, there are a couple of Filipinos also who played in the NCAA champions pa nga, hindi pa rin na draft, right? So I think that's Remy Martin. He won the NCAA
Yeah.
championship. He
He's
played
undrafted.
well. Hindi pa rin na draft. So that's how great that NBA talent level is. Okay, now we're done with Kai. We're talking about Kai. I just wish him the best, and I hope all the Filipino fans also hope for the best for Kai. Um, let's go on to the recent signings by Filipinos and the other leagues. Okay, so you have Richie Rivero. He'll be playing in Tao Yuan Pilots in Taiwan for the P League as a world import, not as an
Yep.
Asian
That's
import,
an
as a
Asian
world import.
world import.
How important is that, Judge? I mean, what is the difference kung world import ka tas Asian import? Ano ibig sabihin nun? What does that mean for Richie Rivero's talent and yung tingin ng Taiwan isang Richie Rivero?
I guess, kasi I think wala naman natang difference. It's just that parang yung difference lang ata is yung number of players per lineup. Kumbaga kasi
Yeah.
per team ata may required numbers lang ata in terms of kung sino yung world or Asian import. So I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm not really sure. But again, the level of play and yung level ng competition sa Taiwan is a bit high. Mataas talaga yan. I mean, nakita naman natin how Jason Brickman plays, how he dominates, and I'm very, very sure that Richie Rivero can be at that level as well. Pinakita niya na year in, year out that he can ball. Like, he's a legit
Yes, sir.
hooper. He can create shots from everywhere. He can create also for other teammates. And again, props to him for accepting that offer sa Taiwan, and we look forward to seeing him grow.
And hindi na rin bago si Richie Rivero sa Taiwanese basketball, if that's how
That's
you
true.
call it. He played there. He was with LaSalle. I think he won a championship
Yep.
in Kaohsiung. That I think that was an invitational with a lot of other
Yep.
schools from other countries playing there. And he balled out. If you just
Balled
search
out.
his name, Richie Rivero highlights in Taiwan, he balled out. He had a couple of
Yeah.
highlight dunks. His signature Euro with that mayhem press, perfect talaga yun for Richie for me. Personally, I think that press and that high speed basketball is perfect for Richie. And
Yep.
may mga fans siya dun for sure, and they're gonna be waiting
Yeah.
for him, what he's
For
gonna do
sure.
in that league. Now let's move on to one of the newest also signings, RJ Abarrientos. He just signed with Ulsan Hyundai
Yeah.
Mobis in the KBL, so in Korea naman. I mean, this guy played 1 year in the UAAP, Jello. As a rookie, I think he was the leading scorer for FEU.
Yeah.
He
He
just
was.
got buckets every game. I mean, this guy, just give him the ball, he can get buckets. And
Yeah.
he showed us in the international scene, sanay na rin siya. I mean, di ba,
Yeah.
yung nag-tune up tayo, I think, with Korea. Gilas against Korea, he had a couple of jumpers. He scored. I mean, in our actual game against Korea and other teams, he was that off the bench guy for Coach Tab, right? So, what
Yep.
can you say about RJ Abarrientos? Him leaving right away, not even play a couple of years in the UAP, just 1 year, and then signing as a pro in Korea.
To tell you honestly, I was shocked that he
Yes, sir.
just
Yeah.
even getting an offer. Just even
Mm.
getting an offer. I mean, yes, he's at that level na kaya niya mag-compete internationally. He's proven
Rookie,
that.
ah. Yeah.
At as a rookie, hindi nga eh. Actually, hindi pa nga siya nakakalaro ng UAAP noon when he started dominating sa FIBA Asia Cup against
Yeah,
Korea.
exactly.
Di ba?
Yes.
Lumabas yung laro niya bigla eh. But I really didn't think na he would get an offer just because he's a college rookie. By the end of the day, college rookie yan eh.
Oh,
But
yeah.
diba? But the level of play and yung kung paano siya maglaro right now is out of this world. I mean,
I think he'll learn a lot. I mean,
he'll learn
we
a
were
lot,
able
yeah.
to talk to Coach Olsen. We were together, right? We
Yeah.
asked about RJ. Sabi niya, I mean, magaling. I mean, he even said he's better than his uncle, Johnny
Yeah.
Abarrientos, at that age. I mean, I'm
At that
not
age.
saying
At that
baka
age.
yung
At
mga
that
fans
age.
ng PBA baka sabihin, ano, one of the best point guards yan sa PBA. You're gonna compare at that age. Just compare the level of skills. That's coming from Coach Olsen. Pero sabi ni Coach Olsen, thing to improve for RJ is his defense. And I think
Defense, yeah.
he might learn that from Korean teams.
Oh
They
yeah, for
love to
sure.
put a lot of pressure on the guards, right? So let's move on now to Kobe. Kobe Paras from D1 magdi-D2 na si Kobe. He just signed with Altiri Chiba in the Japan B League Division 2. Jello, me, I had an opportunity to talk to some of the B League guys, sila 30, sila Keith.
Yeah.
Mapa D1, D2, or D3 sa Japan, bro, the money is the same. It does not matter if D1, D2, D3, you're gonna get the bag, and
Yep.
that's why we're playing the game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we're playing for the game for the love of the game. We're playing for, we
Yeah.
love it. We love working out.
Yeah.
And Javi's actually tuning in. Javi
Speaking
Gomez
of
Oriano,
Japanese,
one of
yeah.
the
Oh.
first OFW hoopers in Japan
Yep.
tuning into the show. What up, Habs? I
What
mean, you
ups?
you're gonna get your numbers for sure in the
Yeah.
PBA. As a rookie, you're hooping. You're playing very well with the minutes you're given. Appreciate you for tuning in, brother. But just talk about Kobe. You're working out with him. Ikaw yata
I was
coach niya
working.
ngayon eh.
Oh,
Ikaw
I
ba?
was working. I was working out with him the
Mm,
past couple of weeks,
yeah.
and when I asked him, look, oh, why Division Two? I mean, wala bang offer sa Division One?
Mhm.
Exactly what you said. Division One, Division Two, Division Three, it's
Get
just
the
the
bag.
same. It's
Yes,
just,
sir.
sabi niya, just the same, sabi niya. And I don't know if this is true, and I'm not sure, but in the near future daw kasi,
Combine
uh,
na yata lahat, no?
yes, they're trying to
Ah,
combine Division One, Division Two, Division Three by I don't know 2024 or 2025. They're trying to combine it in one whole league, isang malaking league na lang ang B-League by that time. So either way, he's still in the B League, 'di ba? Parang
yeah.
ang nangyayari lang naman daw kasi diyan is yung placing nga when you're in Division Two,
And sino yung
you're
mga makakalaban mo, di ba?
oh,
Siyempre.
I mean, sila-sila na rin naman yan eh. So, kumbaga, leveling lang naman yan. If you're top sa B2, you're gonna qualify for B1. And
Yeah.
kung yung bottom ka sa B1, bababa ka lang. Technically, but still, you're still there. Yun yung sinasabi sa akin ni Kobe. Either way, kung saan ako maglaro, I'm still there. I'm still there.
Yes,
But
sir.
if I'm not mistaken, he just signed a 1-year deal just because he doesn't want to really commit long term to one team. And again, he wants to
Yeah.
explore everything, every option possible for him. So
And
just a
props
good
to
move.
Kobe, right? Props to Kobe for him trying to, experience different teams, trying to go against different players.
Yep.
I mean, we know what Kobe can do. He can score. He's a professional bucket getter. He can shoot from the
Yeah.
outside,
No doubt.
athletic, and you know, he's gonna be probably playing in the pros out there for a while. Now, let's move on to our first guest of the show since we're talking about international basketball players going to Japan, players going to Korea, Taiwan, and also we've been talking about the PBA also here in our podcast, Jello. Let us bring in, of course, the rich Paul of the Philippines, Sir
Yan.
PJ Pilares, a former coach, also managing partner of the Titan Management Group. He handles a couple of players. Dwight Ramos, Calvin Oftana, Tyler Tio, Gian Mamuyak, Isaac Go, Mike Nieto, and a couple of other players. I mean, all these players are hooping right now, whether here in the Philippines or outside the Philippines. So, Sir PJ, bring him in, guys. What an honor for him to be here.
There
What
you
an honor
go.
for us to have you also, Sir PJ. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
the
you, sir.
invite, Dregs, Jello. Thanks for having me.
All right, Sir PJ, let's start it off. Before we move on to how it works, how did you start as an agent here with Titan?
Yeah.
You've been managing players. I heard this started way back.
Yeah, the story around sports management started in 2015. That's when
Mm-hmm.
we became serious about it. Myself, I've been fortunate enough to be around sports. My corporate career, majority of it was working with a sporting brand
Yeah,
for the longest time, and you guys know, being in college, thinking of playing at the higher level, when you don't get there, you still want to be connected to the sport by any by any by any way, by any means. You want to be connected to the game you love.
yeah,
So I was fortunate to work, with a brand that was connected to hoops and all other sports. And later in my career, I wanted to seek opportunity. And when I left the corporate, when I joined Titan as a partner as well in 2012, my focus was on Slam magazine. So I'm
yeah.
still sitting in the sales director for Slam, and down in the pipeline, we wanted to really start the sports management agency. It took a while because I had a lot of learnings early on. When I
Mm-hmm.
thought of doing it as a sideline, it, it couldn't really happen. Walang chance because I thought, it wouldn't require so much time out of me. But the challenge was, it was really, the reality took over, and I had to really, do it full time. So it took a while. It took us 3 years to start it.
Mhm. I remember that.
And
Yes.
Yeah, Sir PJ,
so go ahead.
yeah, yeah, since yun nga, nag-start ka from corporate and then you just wanted to stay with the sport. Pero when getting players, how hard is it to like convince them to like join you and to become their agent? Kasi I mean, you really as a player, you really have to give your
Correct,
trust to
correct,
someone and someone na hindi mo naman ganun kakilala talaga fully.
correct.
Syempre, ano yung process doon?
Yeah, for me, I'm confident because I feel that one of the major reasons why I went in sports management was I felt a lot of the things happening in the country were
Yeah.
premature. I felt, I wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary. I was just doing what's being done in the US or in Japan or in Europe or in China. So I just wanted to bring that in. I really wanted to professionalize the craft. I mean, I've learned a lot from the other agents because they've been doing it for decades.
Of
They've
course.
been doing it for
Yep.
7 years. But I feel that when it comes to the game, I have a lot to share with the player.
Yeah.
It's not just the typical, I talk to Jello, for example, and say, galingan mo. It's not that. Eh. You really
Yeah.
need to fill up a role for you to
Yeah.
become, a solid player at the pro level. Like I
And
say,
yeah.
if your mindset is coming in na gagawa ako, you can't, because each team, regardless from 1 to 12, they have the best hoopers.
Yeah, for
Diba?
sure.
So, and syempre, besides that talent, a big part of it is also the business,
Yeah.
right? You could have one game you play solid, and all of a sudden, for some reason that you can't control, you don't get minutes the following game,
Yeah.
right? And that ruins your chance. So, you know, the it's all about understanding what the player really needs. And at the same
Yeah.
time, for me, changing the narrative na parang, hey, hindi na to yung I'll take care of you, I'll give you money. It's
Yeah.
more of,
Yeah.
hey, diba? You want a career? You better work hard for it. I'm not working here as your PA.
Yeah.
Right. That's
It
true.
goes two-way. Nagagawin mo yung trabaho and I'll do my part. But at the end of the day, doesn't matter how good I am. If you can't play,
Yeah.
if you don't if you don't shine when the brights are light, then it doesn't make you won't
Yeah.
make any in the future.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what I want to hear. I mean, know more about Sir PJ, right? You kind of change the landscape when it comes to
Yeah.
being an agent. Because what I heard, I mean, you let players train individual skills.
Correct.
It's a full package. Players, training, maybe nutrition also. It's not just
Hmm, hmm.
okay, transactional now. You hoop, play well. I'll talk to the team and all that. It's our
Hmm,
whole relationship. Can you tell us more about that? You started with college players and then now pro
hmm.
hoopers here in the countries and then
Yeah,
outside the country. Yeah.
for me, a big part of it really, besides that, is scouting. I'm a scout. When I was a
Hmm.
coach, that was my number
Yeah.
one role. Watching
Yeah.
film, watching tendencies of Diego, for example,
Yun.
Jello. So it's crucial, diba? Parang when you know that game,
Yeah.
that side of the game, it's different, diba? Ikaw as a hooper, when you played so much, parang the more than half of your life, you don't
Yeah.
even watch the ball anymore, and that's when you appreciate the beauty of basketball. So that's what a lot of the time, a lot of the times I spend with players. Like for example, with CJ Perez. Like after watching his game yesterday,
Yeah.
I was telling him I would go back with certain aspects of the game and tell him why you were so effective. So, diba, parang just so you could keep on, make sure that you could continue to do those things come next games.
Yeah.
And at
Yeah.
the
So
same
it's
time
like a
for me,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
So, I need to be on top of it. So, I don't want to be in the venue all the time because I also have to do other things
Yeah.
besides being a manager.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the professionalizing in such a way where you give the players more accountability,
Yeah.
more
Sir
ownership.
PJ, balik rin naman natin since
Mm,
yung nga, ikaw naman yung, di ba, ikaw yung lumalapit sa player, asking them to be
yeah,
their agent. Pero balik rin natin, may lumapit na ba sa'yo na player na saying na, oh, can you handle me and can you
marami na,
take care of me? And have you
marami na,
turned some of them down?
a lot, a lot. Actually, I've turned down more players than I've
Wow.
accepted players.
Mm,
Because I'll tell you this, to be frank. I don't want to have too many players because I wouldn't be able to do my job. If I tell
Yeah.
you that I'll take care of you, let's see what opportunities will be there in the future. That's complete BS. That won't happen
Yeah.
because I try to be as hands-on as possible. But if you add 3 or 4 more players to me right now, I have 25 on my roster,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna eventually gonna have junior agents to be present. But at the
Wow,
same
that makes
time,
sense. Yeah.
I want to be able to provide the commitment that I gave my
Yeah.
player, like player A, player B, so on and so forth. So I've, over the years, itong pandemic, I've came across so many players calling me if they wanted to play. A lot of them, kilala nyo lahat siguro. And I
Yeah.
would say, oh, thank you for considering, but I don't feel like, this would be the right time for you. And at the same time, and believe it or not, and you guys are ballers, a big part of my selection process goes down, it all boils down to character. I don't care how skilled you are. If you don't have the
Mm.
right character, then that will be a turning point for me. So ako I make it a point na, of course, syempre, skills will always be primary. Kahit
Yeah.
naman gaano ka kabayat, kung di ka magaling, it's not gonna do you any
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So, but if I can guarantee that this guy will be there when when I tell him something and will respect. For me kasi it's two-way, diba? Like for
Yeah.
example, here kasi in the Philippines, ang agents, they only come in with when it comes to when it comes to contract negotiations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Exactly.
me,
Yes.
that's just a part of it. That's just 20% of it. Problema lang dito sa Philippines, being an agent kasi is not fulfilling from a compensation standpoint. It's too slim.
Mhm.
So when you have other agents doing this, but they have 150, 200 players, talagang guaranteed na they won't have time
Yeah.
to be on top of everything, 'di ba? Talagang papasok lang yan pag end of contract or na injured. Pero
Yeah.
for me, and that's the beauty of being a sports agent. And like us Filipinos, we always say, "Oh, Jerry Maguire," or for example, Rich Paul. But
Yeah.
for me, I mean, the only reason why I'm doing it is because I feel there's a huge gap. Na parang this is something I've mentioned to a lot of sports writers. We always say we're a basketball company,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? We are, but there's just so many things that we don't do well,
Yeah.
right? I mean, for me, I would want more agents to be hands-on and people who really understand the basketball game,
Yeah. And
right?
talking about
And
changing the landscape, Sir PJ, right? Nowadays, there have been a lot of players going overseas. I mean, you have clients both PBA and overseas. Do you think this will be the norm for the coming years?
Yeah.
I mean, basketball
yes,
has been being globalized now, diba?
I've always said this, and with even other events there was a B League event that we handled 3 weeks ago, and the first thing I told them was that basketball is now borderless,
Yeah.
right? So it's great because I was telling them I got a FIBA license in 2019, right before the pandemic, and the reason why I got that was I know that the things were gonna open up. I mean, perfect timing. Syempre, now it happened. Syempre, I can say that. But at the same time, for me, if I wanted to become a sports agent, I wanted to really go full throttle. Ayoko na
Yeah.
parang dito lang tayo. Parang the goal is to be able to handle an NBA player, right?
Yeah.
Regardless Filipino or foreigner. But that's the goal. For Titan, we always say for love of the game, diba? And we want to push that. And hopefully, I mean, 5 years ago, I said, I don't know if we were going to have an international talent, but here we are. Like what you guys said a year ago, actually the first guy that we signed overseas is
Yeah.
Kmart Carino.
Yeah.
So for me, that's a bigger milestone than Dwight, if you ask me, because
Yeah.
nobody knew who Kmart was.
Yeah.
Even with the pandemic, I was able to push. This guy is, 6'9", so much potential, but it was something worth risking kahit nga si Kmart gulat na gulat when he found out na may contract siya.
Yeah. I mean, you did a great job, Sir PJ. I mean, I want to talk to you about, I mean, ask you, paano ba yung process? I mean, for sure the listeners are also curious. Like, how does that work? Do you go to the team or the team would
Those
like,
team.
oh, kilala na nila ako? I'm sure they know Dwight, but
Mhm.
guy like Kmart, right?
Like,
Did you pitch
yeah,
that to them?
yes. Actually, what happened because of the pandemic, since I couldn't fly,
Yeah,
and I couldn't bring any of my players. So I really had to connect with with somebody over there.
there.
And
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to connect with the local, because the local
nice.
pretty much handles 30% of the players.
Yeah.
The highest paid player in Japan, si Togashi, the small guard,
Yeah.
the 5'6" guard, actually also the highest paid player in Japan. So I was able to connect with them
Yeah.
and I sent
I
my
played against
roster.
that guy. Yeah,
Oh, I
it's
remember
crazy.
I think you guys played Batangilas, diba?
Yeah, and Chiba, I think he played for the Chiba
Chiba
Jets.
Jets.
Yes,
That's the
Chiba
first
Jets, and they
time,
were in
Sir
Blackwater,
PJ, I ever played against a guy that was probably faster than me.
smaller. Wow.
Yeah.
Smaller and faster, and then that guy can, I mean, give assists anytime, can
Yeah,
shoot, can score the basketball, can control the whole game. I mean, he
actually,
deserves that being
athlete.
highest paid in the B
Hmm.
League.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Sir
Yeah.
PJ, let's dive into the negotiation aspects of the contract. Let's say a player, your player, one of your players, may dalawang teams na ano, na talagang inoferan ng contract. And ano yung thought process nyo as an agent and thought process din ng
Hmm.
player mo to decide on which is good? Kasi
Yes.
for sure, may PBA, may B-League, may Taiwan, and all of that. So, paano yung nagiging
Hmm.
thought process nyo dun?
Yeah, for me, primary focus is the fit, really.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
Siyempre, I'm dealing with young players. Eh. If they were 30 or above, it would be different. But if you're 23, 25, even 27, you want to look at the fit where you can really blossom. And then second in line would be the salary.
yeah,
The good thing is, with for example, with a player like Dwight, I mean, he commands it. So for me, and I've told him this even before he left for Toyama, before leaving for Toyama, that he's the perfect player for Japan because he's a big guard. He
yep,
can defend
Yep.
1 through 4, and he's a point guard. Diba? His ngayon naman, this diba, with positionless basketball, which
perfect.
transition, perfect siya. Kasi even at the international level, he's huge. A lot of the guys, when they see him up close, nagugulat sila na parang, "Pucha, he's wide
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
tall." Diba? So, yun, for me, those two things are crucial.
Yeah.
Here in the PBA, it's not easy because a lot of the players are restricted free agents. Eh. And
Yeah.
then
mm,
there was a new
new
rule
rule.
that they implemented for the 7 years and older na
Yung
players
UFA.
in 2015 draft that they
Yeah.
can become an unrestricted free agent. But you're dealing with 12 teams, pretty much 5, 6 teams who can really compete for a championship. So really depends. But at times I tell players like, if you wanna prove your worth, then be in a team that would provide you more minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
that
mean,
makes
it
sense.
sounds simple, pero ako, I believe there are teams in the PBA that I really truly respect when it comes to how they, provide players playing time,
Hmm.
facility. Because I hear, as much as you would want, you guys, for example, coming from UP, you wanted to feel na PBA kasi this was the dream. Eh.
Yeah,
When you got there na parang, oh shoot, di ba, nasa village lang tayo na court, wala rin
yeah, yeah.
talagang gym.
Yeah.
So, but, then that's the reality. Eh, diba?
To be
That's
honest, I
something that's
kind of
not
felt
gonna
that
change.
also, Sir PJ. Yeah,
Diba?
Yeah. That's true.
So, but at the same time, ako, I always choose my battles. It's hard to to go against
yeah,
something that you really can't
Yeah.
really put an impact on. So, but yeah,
yeah. And Sir PJ, before we let you go, I mean, we can have a whole hour just talking
Yeah.
about how this
go
works.
naman.
Before we let you go, I noticed. I'm not sure if you guys agree that most of the players who are playing abroad are young guys. People, I
Mhm.
mean, players who have no families here yet, or they haven't settled down here. I mean, I kind of see that disadvantage and advantage for older players. Now, they already have their family set
Mhm.
here. What are the
Mhm.
disadvantages of playing abroad and playing here? Disadvantage and advantages of playing abroad, rather.
Yeah, I've said this so many times with my players and even the ones that would approach me about overseas, and I
Yeah.
always say it's hard. It's not for everyone. I mean, obviously, there's being homesick. Especially, these two guys that I handle flew there during a pandemic.
Yeah.
So the restrictions were crazy. 7-day quarantine. And then when you get sick, you're at home by yourself. Both
Yeah.
guys contracted COVID during their stay there. So, and for both Kmark and Dwight, they were in Toyama. These are two provinces.
Yep.
So,
It's not the
um,
lavish lifestyle na,
Oh,
city in
it's not
Japan,
Tokyo
right?
or
Yeah.
Osaka or then and it snows pretty much. Ayomori, where Kmart played for, has the most snow in the world.
wow.
So can you
Wow.
imagine how depressing that is? Si Kmart,
Yeah.
homebody yan eh.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
ako, I would call him as much as often as possible. And believe it or not, you can ask this to him. Every time he would put the phone down, like I love you sa akin. Kasi he knows everything
Yeah,
that
yeah, that's the
Hello.
relationship. Yeah.
diba? So, it came to a point na he was on his iPad FaceTiming his girlfriend and his dog
Yeah.
24/7.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
I was telling him, sabi ko,
That's tough.
make use of your time, diba? Work out. This is a step in the right direction. But the great thing is when he flew back here, first thing he told me was, boss, I want to go back. I want to fly back to
Yeah.
Japan. Sabi ko, yeah, that's the mindset. Kasi this is your profession. And for him, for somebody like Kmart, coming from San Beda, being a student athlete, and then you
Pro
taste
na agad. Yeah.
Yeah.
the US dollars na sweldo,
Yes,
which
sir.
nothing he even imagined
Yeah.
in the near future. So for him, po siya, big, big, big leap.
Yes, sir. And just to add to that, even Javi mentioned it was tough. It's
Yeah.
not an easy job. I
Hindi
mean,
daw
I've been,
talaga.
I would
It's not for
FaceTime
everyone.
with, yeah, I would FaceTime with Javi. It's like I have to do everything. I have to do my laundry. I have to clean my
Laundry, luto.
room.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, tsaka the
first time,
culture
these
lang
are
eh.
college hoopers, right? College
Yeah.
hoopers na biglang nag-pro.
Nag-pro.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but sir,
I
yeah,
actually think even for the ones who are married, I think it's gonna be tougher kasi they're
Tougher.
used
yeah,
to having more people at home.
Yeah.
that's for sure. All right, Sir PJ. Again, I mentioned earlier we can talk about this for 2 hours, 3 hours, just
Yeah.
all the
Yes.
nitty gritty, the details. But we really appreciate for you for your time, for giving us insights, and you mga listeners natin na now they know how it works, how the
Yep.
whole process works. I mean, players out there going for hooping abroad, right? So we really appreciate you, Sir PJ, and we wish
Thank
you
you,
the
Sir
best of
PJ.
luck sa journey nyo
Jello,
as a group.
Jego, thanks for having me. Thanks for having
Thanks, Sir PJ. I really appreciate
you
it.
guys.
All right. So since we had an agent, player agent, talk to us, that was a great
Yeah. That was a great conversation,
We
Jigs.
learned a
Grabe
lot
yan.
about
Grabe.
overseas hooping. We are gonna be talking to OFW hooper himself, one of the newest signees of the KBL. We
Yeah.
have Mr. Game Face Goods, Justin Gutang, my former teammate from the Nueva Ecija team in the MPO.
My
What's up, my
guy.
guy?
My guy.
How's it going?
What's up,
Thank
bro?
y'all
I
for
see you with
having
a
me.
new haircut. See you with a
Yeah.
new haircut, Just. Okay, first
Appreciate
of all, just I mean, congratulations for signing your
Thank
new
you.
deal with the KBL. Just before we go back to your whole journey, when are you flying out, bro? What are the
Yeah.
details? And what
So
team are you gonna play for?
we just picked the day for me to fly over there. It's gonna be July 20th next month.
Oh, that's soon, yeah.
That's very
yeah,
soon.
very soon.
Yeah.
And then what team are you gonna play for against? Play for again?
for LG Sakers in Chengwon.
LG.
Okay, so LG, that's a good brand. And for the listeners out there, if you have questions to kay Justin, just ask him through the comments. But for sure, since he's playing for LG, he is gonna get the
The
bag.
bag.
The bag. For sure, Justin is gonna get the bag. Pero just take us through the journey. How did this thing go? I mean, sa mga listeners din na marunong mag-Tagalog yan si Just.
Yeah.
Just, kamusta? How is
Paano?
that journey for
Like,
you?
paano
How
ba?
was that
Paano ba
journey?
nangyari yun? It's parang biglaan eh. Like, it's bigla. Like, it's unexpected for everyone eh. So, how was it?
Yeah, very expected. So I guess it started from when I foregone my last year at Benil.
Mhm.
I decided to go pro, wait for MPBL or whatever, Coach Charles, because right now Coach Charles is the one, handling me or taking care of me.
Yeah, that's
So we waited
I
for
heard that too.
MPBL, and then the opportunity to play for Nueva came up. So I played for Nueva one tournament, and after that I switched over
Let's
to
not
San
talk
Juan
about the
Knights.
finals game, just.
I still remember. I still remember like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
All right. After
But
that, yeah.
so I was also given an opportunity to pick a team to play for in FilBasket,
Yeah.
and I chose San Juan Knights
San
just
Juan.
because of the system and the familiarity with the coach, Coach Randy from Mapua,
Mhm.
and I felt like, or me and Charles felt like the system they had over there would fit me perfectly,
Yeah.
and there after that, I became the MVP, which was surprising to me because it
Woo.
was like my first ever, winning an award like that. And and right now I'm currently with MPBO San Juan Knights still. But after FilBasket, I was getting a lot of offers from Japan league teams from Japan B League, D2, D3. And then last minute, Korea popped up, and I decided to play for Korea and choose Korea over the B League teams in Japan, just because we felt like I would fit perfectly,
Yeah.
with that team and the
Yeah.
system. Yeah,
And that's very important. I mean, Sir PJ
right,
already mentioned it earlier, right? The fit of
The system,
you
the
in the
fit of the
system in the
right,
system.
team. But
right.
just how was the process? Did you work out with a Korean
Yeah.
coach? I heard there was a Korean coach that
Were
came
you that
here.
player? Were you that
Yeah.
player?
I mean, there were a couple of players. I'm just not gonna mention.
Yeah,
I think I can mention it though. I think it was one, a couple of guys. You just.
Yeah.
How is that process like? Yeah.
yeah. So there's, I think, four of us. We had a small private workout at Benilde.
Mm-hmm.
Charles, called me over, said, "Hey, come over here. We have the Korean coaches looking at players to work out and see who they're interested in." So I just joined the workout, and Charles gave me a call, and then he told me that they were interested in me, and they flew back here again a few weeks later to work me out privately one on
Yeah.
one, just
Yeah.
to see, if if it wasn't a fluke or
If the
anything.
hype is true,
The hype
yeah.
is true.
Yeah. So the head coach, the boss management of LG Sakers, and the assistant coach flew out here and then worked me out. And then after that, it was just signing, dinner, signing, getting to know each other. Yeah.
So just we played through a lot of games, Phil Oil, college, and the
Tinira ata ni
MPB.
Right,
Jello
right.
si Justin na naglaro
Where
tayo.
I may or may not have done that.
Eh.
But then again, and we've seen you grow as a player. Siyempre, we've been watching you, we've been playing against you. How was your evolution that as a player that led to this offer and to this KBL stint?
I think the main thing that I realized what I developed with my overtime being here in the Philippines was the my mental stage, my mental part of the game,
The
the
game.
aspect. Also, you know, building high IQ plays, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Because I mean, I had the body. My body was already prepared for the
You're
pro
already
stage.
athletic. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and so one thing that I really had to work on was my IQ and my mental strength. So now that I've strengthened that and achieved, I just feel like that really helped me to get to where I am now.
Yeah. And with your team in Korea, how did you guys talk through it? Like, what role are you gonna play for
Yeah.
that team? What are they
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
for? I mean, you're playing for
yeah.
LG. I'm sure your TV is probably the max size now.
So
75 inch.
one thing that me and Charles asked was, do they even know how I play? You know, they know my name, but do they know how I play personally? Have they watched my
Yeah.
games?
Yeah.
And we also asked, like, how, of course, how would I fit into your guys' system? And they said, you know, for my size, I'm pretty agile and quick, very athletic, and I can also make plays. And
Yes,
you know,
you
I could
can. Yeah.
read the court on
Yeah.
offense. I could play defense. So the role that they have me as I go out there is they play the 2, 3, and then maybe the 4 sometimes. Is what they said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I love
Yeah.
how open they are, right,
Yeah.
with the communication. Very, I mean, it's
yeah,
not like that here. Here in the Philippines, you just go in, and then hoop, show the coach you
Hoop.
can play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
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 But
and
just
then
I have a
So
yeah.
yeah,
there,
bro,
I
sorry.
actually have an assistant coach who. So over there on our team at LG, we have an assistant coach who can speak Korean and Tagalog.
Wow.
So
Nice.
he's pretty much my translator in how I communicate with, you know, the coach or the players. So it's definitely a big help for me as I go over there.
Yeah. So just I have a question, and I want you to be mayabang about it. Like no filter. So maging mayabang ka. Since you're one of the first Filipino players that will play in the KBL, what can you bring to the table right from the get-go?
Game face,
What
syempre.
can I
You know
bring to
una.
the KBL?
Yeah, what the game or whatever. What can you bring
Of
right from
course,
the
of
get-go?
course. Um, energy, of course. Energy. I've been waiting for this moment. I think I'm ready. Coach Charles thinks I'm ready. I'm just ready to fly out there and just hoop.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir, and
Yeah, that's
we're
pretty
really
much
excited.
it.
We're really
Just
excited. What
business.
Yes, sir. We're really
Yeah.
excited just of, I mean, with what you're gonna do. You hooping. We can't wait to see you hoop there, and really
Yeah.
appreciate you for the time. We could talk. Again, just we can talk about
Appreciate you,
this
man.
journey for
Yeah.
an hour or two, but we really appreciate you. We're running out of time. Thanks for the time, bro, and your insights.
Good luck. Good luck out there, Jess. Good luck.
Of course. Thank you again for having me, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, y'all can
Appreciate
visit
you.
me.
Tapos ano tayo dun, mukbang. Mukbang
Mukbang.
tayo sa KB.
Mukbang.
Alright. Alright, just appreciate you, bro. I'll see you around.
All right.
All right, that was another great conversation,
Yeah.
Jels. But before we
Grabe
move
yun.
on to our last few topics, just a quick rundown of our network about globally Ballin. Our network slides are going to be coming up in a bit. We're on Instagram, Facebook. We are on Twitter and on YouTube. If you're watching this on anywhere, please make sure to share this. I think we deserve your share. That was a
Yeah.
great conversation. Two great conversations with two of the best one of the best agents and also one of the best hoopers in the Philippines. Also, in our website, the Globally Ballin Network, we have original articles, audio projects, video
Yeah.
projects, and we have different shows. Not just the Next Man Up. We have an Eternity of Basketball where we talk to the legends of Philippine hoopers. And in episode 134, Aaron Torres was the guest for that, and a couple of hosts there also. And if you're into the old school basketball, old school legends, you should tune in. And for the next one, we're gonna have that in a bit. Of course, this show, Next Man Up, catch all episodes on YouTube and Spotify. At Globally Ballin on YouTube. Next Man Up on Spotify. Make sure to share that,
Yeah.
because that's how we are gonna be shown to other podcasts. Please, sana isupport nyo kami, and please
Yep.
subscribe on YouTube. Links are found in the description sa show na to. Next
Yep.
Man Up, we just talk about Filipino hoops, for all the hoop junkies, basketball fans, hoopers dito sa Philippines and outside. Any news, we're gonna talk about that. And
Yeah.
syempre, we're gonna have guests also, so make sure to tune in. And for the next one, we have Hang Time with Denise Densai. Episode 53 na sila. Sana all gusto natin makaabot tayo dyan sa episode 53. They had Jai Reyes, a former Blue Eagle, UAAP champ, also a former professional hooper, and now the commissioner for the
Man.
FilBasket League. He's been doing a great job with that, so make sure to tune into that as well. And do
All
we
right.
have more network sites? No, that's the last one. So, quick one, Jello. I have a question for you. Is basketball in the Philippines in trouble? And what should they do?
I really think that Philippine basketball is not yet in trouble. I know this has become an issue, naging issue to just because a lot of our best talent
Hmm.
is leaving the country to play and to look for other opportunities. But for me, since again, basketball is becoming global, naging open na lahat, I really think this is a great opportunity for other players to showcase what they can do.
I agree.
That would lead them to, syempre, that would lead them to what is happening right now.
Yeah.
To be offered other contracts in the country, other contracts in other countries, in other leagues, all over the world. And I think that's the best talaga na
Yeah.
mangyayari in the long run. In the long run, probably not right now, but nakikita natin yung glimpse. Nakikita natin na it's possible na mangyari yun. Basta as long as it's within the boundaries of the rules and within the boundaries of everything. I think naman Filipinos would love fellow Filipinos to flourish in other leagues para mabandera yung bansa natin. Like
Siyempre.
what others are doing. So let's just be excited for them. Let's just be excited. And I really don't think na Philippine basketball is in trouble. No,
Yeah,
not really.
I agree. I mean, when you talk about these athletes, they're representing the country. And why
Oh,
is that not good for the Philippine basketball, right? I mean, the PBA will always be there. That for me, honestly, I said this already in our previous episode. The Philippines will always be their home. They're gonna play
yeah.
there. They're gonna play in Japan maybe 2 years, Korea in 2 years. I mean, they're gonna try a lot of opportunities out there. But at the end of the day, they want to retire here. Their family is
Oo.
here. They grew up here. Uh, the PBA was always for sure when they were young. That was their dream. Ngayon lang
That's
naman
dream.
lumabas yung international basketball, right? So
Yeah.
I think this is just the globalization of basketball. It's not just happening here in our country, it's happening around the world. I mean,
Yeah.
there's NBA Africa, there's um, you know, NBA players playing in China. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the norm already for basketball. If you have the talent, why not go for the better opportunity and play either here or outside the country? And
Yep.
just for our game, last question for you. I will not answer this. Ikaw, kaya mo tong sagutin. If you were Willie Marcial, what would you do in the current situation?
Ako to tell you
Oh,
frankly,
yan na.
to tell you frankly,
Jello, ikaw.
tell you frankly, I would, sasabay na ako. Like, sasabay na ako sa kung anong ginagawa ng iba. Which is, yun na rin yung next step na ginagawa ng PBA. Pero hindi pa ganun nagbabuy-in yung tao. Hindi pa nagbabuy-in lahat. Probably less than 5% of the watching population ng basketball is nakakaintindi niyan. But then again, there have been talks with the EASL, East Asia Super League. Diba? Magkakaroon na ng collaboration and magkakaroon na rin ng mga teams from the PBA and even guest teams dito from other leagues in our neighboring Asian countries na would compete here in the PBA and at the same time would compete in their leagues. So again, it's a great step. It's a great first step for PBA to be open and for PBA to be global. But yun na nga, like what I've said, kailangan ng sumabay ng PBA sa mga nangyayari right now globally in terms of basketball.
Yeah.
Again, we're the oldest team. We're the oldest league in Asia.
Yeah.
Okay. Pero bakit parang ang dating parang tayo pa yung nahuhuli. Parang tayo pa yung nagmumukhang bagong league.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, yun nga, I don't know, Jags, if you would agree with me, but kailangan na nating sumabay. Kailangan na nating gawa ng paraan na to be at least at par with with the other leagues. Kahit sa surrounding Asian leagues lang muna.
Yeah. I agree
And
with some of your points, Jess. I mean, globalization of basketball will always be a good thing. I mean, it's good for the sport.
It's good for
You
the sport,
introduce
opportunities,
different,
jobs, diba?
yeah, you introduce
Daming pwede
different
mangyari.
kinds of basketball to in different countries, different cultures. But at the end of the day, I think yung mga gusto ng fans, it's not that simple for the PBA.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure
Totoo.
there's a lot of things behind the scenes, politics. I mean, talking to all the governors, right? Commissioner Willie Marcial, I'm sure he's doing his best to, try to talk to everyone, being a
Yeah.
leader as the commissioner of the league, right? So I think eventually that's gonna happen as the commissioner. I mean, who are we, right? We're just theoretical commissioners here in our
Yep.
show, Jels, but he is the actual commissioner. Who are we to
Madaldal
tell
lang
him
tayo
what to do? Oh, madaldal lang tayo. Si
Madaldal lang tayo
commissioner, he's doing like actual work.
Yeah.
Pero talking
And
about
yun na,
commission,
yeah.
ikaw maging
Yeah.
commissioner ka rin ng league natin eh. We're gonna have a
Okay.
uh next up basketball league.
League.
I-shout out na rin natin dito si Jello yung ginawa kong commissioner.
Commissioner.
Ako yung nag-found, pero I founded that, pero si Jello yung
Ako yung
commissioner kasi
magiging commissioner.
I believe in his decision making.
Di ko alam bakit ko tinanggap yan eh.
Kaya mo ikaw. Ito nga,
Kaya natin
ikaw nga si
Kaya
Willie
natin
Marcial
yan.
sa
Kaya natin
show
yan.
natin eh, di ba? So,
Kaya natin yan.
kaya mo yan. But again, Jels, this was a great episode. First time na live tayo. I hope the fans also enjoyed the listeners.
For sure.
If you have
for
questions, anong gusto nyong pag-usapan next, sinong gusto nyong guest na ilabas natin sa show nito, please comment down below. We'll definitely read that. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. Please, para we're gonna have more episodes right on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Spot.
We really appreciate you guys. Jello, any last words? Appreciate you for the conversation, my guy.
No, Jegs, thank you so much. Again, napakaganda ng conversation natin ngayon, and I look forward to more conversations and more guests na would come into our podcast. And please follow me on Instagram. It's at Gelo Vito, and on Twitter at IM.
May ano ka na ba? May profile pic ka na ba?
Meron
sa
na.
Instagram?
Meron na. Naglagay na ako. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. Thank you guys for listening.
All right. Also for me, follow me, Diego5 Dario, on all social media accounts, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And it was a great show. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Jello, appreciate you. We're out. Peace out till the next
Bye-bye.
episode. Next man up, signing out.